Hello, welcome to episode 2 of my knitting podcast. My name is Stephanie and I'm a fairly new knitter. I started knitting back in the spring of last year and it's been about 5 weeks since I think I uploaded my first episode. So since then we've had Christmas and New Year. We're about a week into January at the moment and I think I've made a fair amount of progress on my projects over the last month or so. So we're going to follow the typical format of finished objects, whips, acquisitions. As I said, we've just had Christmas, so I got quite a few nice knitting goodies as gifts from my family because they knew that that's what I've been really into lately and that I didn't have a lot of equipment. So for a tiny bit of context, last year in 2023 I did a no-buy year. Knitting was a bit of a weird situation because I wasn't knitting at the start of the year, so I hadn't kind of categorised that the way I did a lot of other things. So I did spend a tiny bit of money on knitting but was still trying to not really buy. I got some things as gifts last year to kind of get me going as well, but so I wasn't able, or I wasn't willing to go out and buy a load of different kind of notions and things for my knitting projects. So that was something I really wanted for Christmas, and luckily my family kindly gifted me a few things, so I'll show you those at the end, but they're more knitting sort of tools or things like that rather than wool or yarn. But let's get stuck in. So the first thing I have to show you is my finished object, my only finished object, and I'm wearing it now, and it is the Button Knit Up cardigan by Aston Designs in navy. I'm sorry, it's really hard to read on camera, and I have a navy camisole on underneath, so I'm not just wearing the cardigan, but it kind of looks that way because they're a very similar colour. But yeah, so I finished this before Christmas, maybe a week or so, week and a half before I went away for Christmas. We went to visit family down south for about 8 days over the Christmas period. And I'm pretty pleased with it. It was my first finished sort of proper garment. If you're new to the channel and you didn't see my previous video, it's the first proper piece of clothing I would say that I've made, and it was a lot of learning, as you can imagine. There are already things I've learnt since or in doing this process that I think, oh, I would have done that differently, or now I know how to do that properly and I did it a bit wrong. Like one thing is the seams. If I get a bit closer, hopefully you can see. So where I mattress stitched the sleeve to the shoulder, it's really, really bulky, which is just the nature of the wool. It's a very chunky wool, but I struggled with that a lot more than I expected to, especially because I've been sewing for about 16 years, so I thought I'd easily be able to put the pieces together, but where things were kind of at a diagonal, I got a bit confused as to where to place my stitches, and therefore this looks a little bit uneven. It's not a nice straight clean line. So that's a little thing that I can improve upon. I should have probably knitted a size up. So I knitted a small, which is my typical size, but I noticed in the photos on the pattern that Aston, she is a size small and she was wearing a medium for some of the pictures, and I think for the fit that I wanted I should have gone up to a medium. However, it fits really nicely and I'm pleased with it. It just means, as I said, it's perhaps a little, where the seams are bulky here, it's not too tight, but it's just a little tight. It would be more comfortable if kind of this was a bit baggier, and I'd maybe like it to just be more oversized, but it actually is a really good fit. and I really like the length on it as well, where it kind of sits. It's a little bit cropped. So that's the first finished, as I say, garment that I've made. I hope you like it. Now it's a question of figuring out how I'm going to style it, I think, is the thing. I kind of copied Lauren Aston's own styling with the dungarees for the photo shoot, which was fun. And yeah, it's nice with this camisole, but I'm just figuring out the situations to wear it. I think it's a nice casual piece to sort of wear if I go out with friends or something like that, but it's very thick and warm, so it's definitely a winter item. So let's move on to work in progress, and I'm going to show you something that I started in my previous video, which I hit a bit of a wall with, which I've now kind of managed to crack. And it is the Barnet beanie from Lauren Aston Designs. Not everything I have to show you is from her knitting kits, but that was where I started, and I would really recommend that if you're in the UK and you're looking to get into knitting and you just want a kit that will allow you to complete a project to see if you're into it, which is what I wanted to do. I think her instructions are really clear, and she has some cute patterns, and she also has video tutorials on her website from YouTube that show you how to do any of the techniques included in her patterns, so I recommend. So let me show you the Barnet beanie, where we're at so far, and I'm knitting this in Fuschia. It's called Fuschia, and it's in mohair. So this is what we have. That's the back, but this is what we have so far. So you can see we're getting there. It's just got a ribbed hem at the bottom, and you just knit it flat, and then I think do some decreases and then mattress stitch it together. And I will be folding the hem up like that to actually wear it. I just prefer beanies generally to sit a bit tighter on my head rather than stick up at the back. So at the moment it's just a case of knitting it to the required measurement, like knit a row, purl a row. So that's what I'm up to, and I started this project with the intention of it being a nice easy sort of straight stockinette knitting kind of thing, so that I could just do it in front of the TV or whatever I wanted, and it would be quite casual and easygoing. That's not how it panned out, and the reason for that, as I mentioned before, I think is the mohair. So it's worked in 2 strands of mini mohair, lace weight, and it's just really sort of catchy. It wants to stick to itself, it wants to tangle up, and I basically got into a huge tangled mess because it uses one ball, 2 ends, so I had to get out the centre to find the end, or to find both ends of the yarn, and it was just a complete nightmare, and the more I knitted the more twisted it got to, until I reached a point where I couldn't work with it anymore. So I set it down for a little while, and then around my birthday, which was back in November, I went to visit my auntie, and she kindly got me this yarn holder. How cute is that? And that inspired me to sort this out, basically, to fix the problem. Oh, I just found another knot. But I'm having to work with it incredibly carefully to avoid it getting tangled again, even while it's on this, because I have the core of the ball here. It's a bit of a nightmare, but I've kind of got the hang of it, I think, and it'll be over soon. Or not necessarily, because it's not my priority project. I'm not so fussed about finishing this anytime soon. I'm just kind of working on it when I fancy, but it also meant, because of the stand and also because of the nature of the mohair itself and how carefully I'm having to work with it, I didn't take it away with me over Christmas, so I didn't really make much progress over the Christmas holidays. But there we go. I think this will be really cute when it's done. I love the colour. So that's that little accessory. And then the next thing I have to show you is a big jumper, a big chunky knit jumper. So again, for my birthday last year, my partner kindly bought me this knitting kit that he knew I really wanted. So this was the item that inspired me to start knitting in the first place. And I just wanted to do a few practice garments before I delved into this project because it was a bit pricey. I just wanted to know sort of that I was interested in knitting in the first place, so I did my ruffle collar first and then my cardigan, and now we're here. So this is from Wool and the Gang, and it's the switch sweater. So if I show you the pattern, you can see what it looks like. There we go. So this is what we're aiming for. And I'll put a picture here of the Wool and the Gang version, so you know what it's supposed to look like. And I'm knitting this in Wool and the Gang's own wool because it's a knitting kit in the colour Bronzed Olive. It's their Lil Crazy Sexy wool. There we go. This is the bottom of my jumper, one side, because you knit it again flat and then stitch it together. So what I've done is I've extended the ribbing at the bottom because I wanted that to be kind of chunky and oversized. I also wanted to elongate the length of the jumper. I want it to really hang around my thighs, really, because I'm going for this bar style number 17 sweater jumper, which I'll put here. That's the aim. I know it's not going to come out quite like that, but I'm essentially extending the collar, extending the cuffs, and extending the ribbing at the bottom to give more of that look. And I've also gone up a size, so it's already an oversized jumper as it is as a pattern, and I've gone up a size to really achieve this like slouchy fit. I'm really enjoying this. The wool smells amazing. I've seen and heard people talking about the sheepy smell of some wools and not really experienced it with the previous wools that I'd been working with. But when I got this kit, this smells sheepy and I love it. I tend to enjoy those kinds of scents anyway. I'm really into perfume and I really love animalic scents that smell a bit like earthy and like a barn, and so I really enjoy the smell of the wool, but I kind of wasn't expecting it. I think there's something about the branding from Wool and the Gang. It feels kind of corporate, and so I wasn't expecting their wool to smell sheepy, especially when it comes in all these kinds of colours. But I'm pleased that it does, and yeah, I'm happy with how it's going. The cuff took me ages along the bottom, so that's a bit of a pain, but now I'm into the stockinette. Hopefully it's a bit speedier, but I have a lot to do. I started this just before Christmas. I did take it away with me, but I didn't get it out because there was animals around and I was just a bit worried about it getting sort of caught in a claw, or even getting loads of dog or cat hair sort of tangled in the wool, because this is my favourite piece that I'm working on at the moment and I'm really excited about it, so I just wanted to keep it in good condition. And the needles I had to buy separately because Wool and the Gang don't ever seem to have any in stock with their kits. So these are the Knit Pro Zing needles in 8mm. And then I have one more work in progress to show you, which I don't think I mentioned in my previous video. I don't think I'd bought the wool for this yet, or it's not actually wool. So a friend of mine, a very close friend, is expecting a baby soon, a little girl, in March, and I just thought it would be lovely to knit something for the baby. We're very, as I say, we're a very close kind of group of friends, and they live just up the road as well, so I'll maybe be doing some babysitting, and I wanted a sweet homemade gift. I thought about knitting what's it called? Not like a baby grow, a romper. I thought about knitting a romper. I was really seriously considering that, and in the end I decided it was just too much pressure. I'm, as I say, still quite new to knitting. I think it would take me a long time. It might be kind of a bit outside of my skills at the moment. And with that time pressure, I just thought, let's do something simple. So I found the PetiteKnit, forgive me, Sigge bibs. Put a picture here, which looked really cute. They're made in cotton, which means they're very washable. You can wash them at 60 degrees in the washing machine, which is much more convenient for new parents than giving them a wool gift that they'll have to hand wash, which they probably don't need. So I think this was the smart call, and I'm knitting these in 2 colours. So I've started my first one, and here it is, and this is in Sandnes Garn Shocking Pink, I think the colour is called, in their cotton yarn, in Mandarin Petit, sorry. Where's the, okay, that's the back, here we go. So I mean, you can't really tell because it's in garter stitch, but this is the front here. And I've got these obviously caught on a safety pin, and I'm working my way up the right hand side at the moment, and then it's going to have a cute little button at the top. So this was kind of what I was working on over Christmas, which was a nice compact project. Again, it uses 2 strands of cotton, and that's been trickier than I expected because it doesn't have any stretch the way that wool does, and also it being the 2 strands, it wants to split anyway, and then holding 2 strands together, it's even worse for that. So that's been fun, but it's going pretty well. It's pretty easy. I've learnt some new techniques for kind of decreases and increases and things, so that's been good. And I am knitting this in a second colour, or I will do once I finish this, which is this one here. I think it's called Heathered Lilac or something like that. It has the colour number, which is 4622. I just think these colours are in the parents' wheelhouse, so hopefully they'll like them. And you get 2, you can make 2 bibs from 1 skein of cotton. So I also have a couple of colleagues who are having babies in a couple of months as well. So dependent on how quickly I'm able to knit these up, I might knit a couple more and gift them to my colleagues before they go on maternity leave. I think that would be nice. And it's incredibly cheap. These are about £4 a skein, and you can get 2 out of them, so that's £2 a bib, which is great. And then I'll probably give them a secondary gift, which would be something that I'll buy that's more practical for them, or maybe I'll look for something else to knit, like a cute little hat. I don't know, but I think it's sweet. Hopefully you do and they do as well. Okay, so you're probably noticing a jolt in camera quality at the moment, so I'm really sorry for the poor quality for the first part of the video. Yeah, I've played about with my camera and it's looking a lot better now. So that was all of my work in progress that I have to show you at the moment. In terms of future projects, I am planning on filming a video perhaps in 2 or 3 weeks that's just about my knitting plans for 2024, because I think that I'm finding that really exciting. Maybe you would find it exciting as well. So look out for that if you're looking for sort of more project content. But moving on to acquisitions now, I'm not going to show you everything I got for Christmas knitting wise, because that might be a bit boring, but just kind of the fun stuff, I think. So let's get stuck in. So first of all, I got 4 books, knitting related books, pattern books, that kind of thing. And first of all, I got this one here, which is the Star Wars Knitting the Galaxy book. I kind of wanted this just because, I mean, there's some cute stuff in it. My partner is fairly into Star Wars, with caveats, so I just thought that it would be really sweet to knit him some things from this book. I really love the Chewbacca socks that are in here, they're super cute. I actually might knit some of the kind of more costumey bits to wear myself. There's a kind of Luke Skywalker body armor type thing in here, and I just have this vision of making it out of raffia, which is insane. I don't know why I want to do that. It's, when am I going to wear it? What am I going to do? Like, practice fencing in it? I don't know what that is all about, but maybe I'll do that as a crazy project and figure out a purpose for it. Maybe it's just good to have, you know, some soft body armor in the house. So yeah, but this is cute. I think I'll have fun making some projects from here. The next book I got was something I bought with a voucher I got for my birthday just before Christmas, and it is the Knitting for Olive knitting book. This is just so full of gorgeous patterns. There's so many things in here I want to knit. I would say from reading some of the patterns through myself, I don't think it's too beginner friendly. There are some beginner patterns in here, but even then I feel that the way they're written is not very approachable if you're a bit confused about knitting. And then there's lots of really beautiful things in here that I'm dying to make that are quite complex, like some cable knit jumpers. I'll put a few pictures up here of things that I'm interested in. The Barbary blouse at the back of the book. Oh my god, it's so gorgeous. I want it in 15 different colours. I think I would wear that all the time. I'm hoping maybe in a year I'll kind of, as we get towards next winter, maybe I'll be in a position I might be up for giving something like that a try. We'll see how the knitting skills progress over the next few months. But this is a really lovely book. I do think I recommend it for knitting for olive patterns. And I got 2 other books for Christmas. One is Slow Knitting by Hannah Thiessen. This is a knitting pattern book, but it focuses more on things like wool production, how to choose kind of ethical and sustainable materials for your knitting, how to think carefully. It's very slow fashion focus, which is something I'm really interested in, and that's a big part of why I want to knit my own clothes. That's sort of what we're working on here. One of my goals for this year is to predominantly make anything that I'm bringing into my wardrobe myself. I won't probably entirely do that, especially because I did a no-buy year last year and I didn't buy any clothing. So there are areas where I might need to, or I feel like I need to quickly replenish things. I also just started a new job last week, which is very exciting, but it means that it's just slightly, even though I was working in an office before, this is just a slightly more formal office setting. So I feel like I might need some office piece and things. So I'm not being too hard on myself, but I'm trying to focus most on making clothes so that I know that they've been made ethically, that they haven't travelled to 4 different countries before they've reached me, that kind of thing. And so this is a really nice book for thinking about knitting in that way. And also it does have a few patterns in it that I like. I'm not so crazy about the patterns in the book, but there's a couple of sweet cardigans that I think would be really lovely for lounging around the house, working from home, that type of thing. So this is a nice one. And then finally I've got more of a kind of almost magazine. It's not a magazine, but Spin It, which is a yarn spinning book. I'm not sure how old this is. Maybe the 90s. No, 2003. Okay, so on the cusp. But as you might suspect, I got some spinning gear for Christmas. So let me show you that. So I got a drop spindle, which I haven't even opened yet. So let's open it and have a look. I wanted this to be low investment. My dad kindly bought these things. I picked them out and he got them for me for Christmas. This is a KROMSKI drop spindle. How does it work? I don't know. That way? Like that. Like that, I guess. I will look at instructions and things. But yes, this is a wooden drop spindle. I got it in the lilac colour. I thought it was cute. It came in loads of different colours, sort of pretty pastels and sage greens and that type of thing. I just thought it was really sweet. It was reasonably priced. They had a Black Friday sale on. So we saved a bit of money by my dad getting me these things in the Black Friday sale. So with this I bought some wool from the same wool fibre from the same company, which was Fibre Hut, that's where I got it from. And I bought 800 grams of emerald dyed merino wool. Here we go. Isn't that a lovely colour? It's so vibrant. It's really, really soft to the touch. I'm very excited. So according to the website, it said you typically need around 600-700 grams for a sweater, which I think is what I'm interested in making, which sounds insane. I totally understand this may take me 10 years to spin and turn into something, and maybe I'll never achieve it, but I want to give it a go. I was actually more interested in textile production before getting into knitting than I was knitting. As I said, I've been sewing since I was about 15 and like to read up on these sorts of industries, the textile industry, the history of textiles. I'm interested in things like growing flax. So we'll see where I end up one day. This could be a whole rabbit hole. This could just be the tip of the iceberg for me. But yeah, it was very easy for me to make the leap once I'd spent sort of 6 months or so knitting to think, yeah, I want to give spinning a go, especially at such a low cost entry point, like just the drop spindle method as opposed to buying a spinning wheel or something like that. Can't see me doing that in the near future. Maybe one day for sure, but not in the next year or so. I wouldn't expect to be doing anything like that, but I just think slow and steady, casually spinning maybe once a week, a bit of yarn, see how I get on, and then maybe eventually in a year, 2 years, 3 years, I'll have enough to make that jumper that I want to make. Maybe I won't even want to make it by then, who knows. But I do love this emerald colour. I would really like a jumper, like a crew neck, or maybe a lovely cardigan in this sort of colour, like a thin button-up crew neck cardigan. How cute. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated on how the spinning goes. I'm going to be watching that YouTube channel. I can't remember what it's called. I'll put the name here and I'll link it down below, but you'll probably know the one I'm on about because I think everybody learns from the same lady. So I'm going to be following her tutorials and things to learn more about spinning, and I do know that there's a few classes and things in London that I could go along to as well, so maybe we'll get into that in the spring. But that's very exciting. I'm really excited to start trying to spin my own wool. And the reason I bought 800 grams was so that I had a buffer, so that I could, you know, use 100, 200 grams just practicing and getting the hang of it. So hopefully by the time I've got through that, just got the technique down just enough to actually be able to spin something that is usable. And maybe it'll all be usable, who knows, but I wanted that buffer, and with the Black Friday pricing, it was very palatable to get all of this wool. So that's, yeah, exciting stuff. Aside from that, I got a bunch of equipment. So just to quickly run through, I got from my partner a Knit Pro Symphony Deluxe interchangeable needle set, which I desperately wanted. So that's brilliant. I'm already using some of those needles for my bib project. They're really pretty kind of rainbow wooden ones. And it's just nice to have that range of sizes and cable lengths and things to make most projects quite accessible for me, and I can always buy really specific things. Like I know I need some 2.5mm needles, circular needles for a project I want to do, so that's something I can go out and buy. I understand that's not going to be typically used or something that comes automatically in a big kit, but it's nice to have my bases covered from sort of 3mm to 7, I think, and then I have 8s. I've got 10 and 12mm as well, I think, that because I started off on those really chunky yarns, so I'm pretty covered for a lot of different sizes. I also got some blocking mats from my auntie, and then she bought me a bunch of little knitting tools. So I got things like a row counter, I got stitch markers, and I got blocking pins, which is great. So where with this cardigan I had to block this on a towel with my sewing pins, it wasn't ideal. When I have my great big chunky jumper that I'm going to be finishing in the next month or two, I will have a proper way to block that a bit more comfortably. And then the last thing I got, I'll show you. It was this from Andalusia Designs, which apparently is where the wooden knitting stand yarn holder also came from. And it's a magnetic kind of board, a bit like an iPad case. So you set it up like this. You can pin these are magnets, and you can set your knitting pattern and pin it to the board, and just kind of have this in front of you to read while you're knitting. And it's got a handy little ruler. Yeah, it's cute, a fun little tool that I think will be helpful for certain projects. And because I am working from a lot of kits at the moment, I have got physical paper patterns, so that will be nice and handy. Okay, I have whizzed through everything. Who knows if I've talked about everything that I planned to talk about. I'm not really sure, or if any of it was interesting. If you did stick through this far into the video, thank you so much. It's really nice to have people on this kind of journey with me. I'm really excited by my new hobby and I want to make some knitting friends. I had an event planned last month which unfortunately got cancelled, but I'm hoping to attend the next one when that gets organised soon and meet some local knitters in London. But I'd be happy to meet some of you online as well, so please do, leave a comment, get involved. And as I said, I'll be putting out that video, I think perhaps in sort of 3 weeks, which will be all my knitting plans that I'm really excited about, and who knows if they will pan out the way that I think they might at the moment. I tend to change my mind from month to month, but I've tried to plan it out quite sensibly with things like the seasons in mind, the practicality of what I need in my wardrobe, that type of thing. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please do check that out. And then I'm going to Costa Rica at the end of the month, which is really exciting, for 2 weeks. So I'll be there until the middle of February. And when I come back, I will post my next episode of the podcast. So I'll be sharing updates on my knitting kind of towards the end of February, I think. But we'll have a video in between, so you can touch base with me then. Okay, that is everything from me. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.